January meeting. Happy New Year's, everyone.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
So first up, we've got some board interviews. We'll start with Pat Pagano, EAC.
Everyone.
Hi.
Hey, Patrick. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Welcome.
All right, thank you.
Happy New Year. Hey, let me turn this on. Turn it up. There's some feedback. Maybe it will be else.
I tend to speak softly. So it's probably a good idea.
It's a good match for the mic.
Thank you.
So welcome to council. You are here seeking one of the open seats on the Environmental Advisory Commission.
Yes,
So I'm not sure if you know everyone.
I do, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Most part.
Okay.
I know you a lot better now.
Well, you've seen my CV.
Yeah, it's our junior house person this year. Okay, so Patrick, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
See if you have any questions or about yourself.
Sure.
Not all 38 pages.
It's brief. I think most of you know me. My reputation precedes me. So been a resident of the township of the borough, I should say, 16 and a half years. And I've lived in a number of places. I born and raised in New York and did my postdoc in Boston. And then went to Michigan to work for the Henry Ford Hospital. So I'm a researcher by training. I'm a vascular biologist and a pharmacologist, and have a family of two beautiful young women, 27, 29. My wife and I live at Mystic Valley Drive. So basically, my science is about basic discovery of sources of oxidants in blood vessels. So we discovered, my lab was one of 3 labs that discovered an enzyme in the vascular wall called NADPH oxidase. And we developed the first and most selective inhibitors of this enzyme. It turns out, fast forward 30 years, the enzyme is found in the brain in Alzheimer's disease. And so our drugs were recently approved for preclinical testing in Alzheimer's. So that's been the most exciting news of the last year. And we got an NIH grant to study it, and we're doing a lot more, trying to expand on that for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So we'll see. It's a long shot. See if the drugs ever get developed, as Dr. Lee knows how difficult that is. But I've always had a love of science, and as many of you know, the environment. And actually, I wanted to be a meteorologist when I was a kid. I wanted to be a storm chaser, study hurricanes. So much has happened, but I just, everywhere I've been involved in community beautification. I think that's probably the biggest goal. And of course, air quality and the environment. So I think what I bring potentially to the council or to the advisory board is the ability to really read the literature deeply and critically and ask analytical questions and be creative and pragmatic. I realize the need to be pragmatic as well. That wasn't too long.
No. Patrick, have you seen some EAC meetings or seen the outcomes of them? Right?
I have been to a couple.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if it's your interest, then what they're kind of doing.
It does, it does. And I kind of wanted to hear from all of you based on my, my, I don't know if you want to call it activism in the community, whether that would be amenable to being on the council, on the advisory board. I think it would. I think,
I don't think anybody sees the activism would impact on your participating objectively with the EAC. They really do a lot of projects that
right.
council has directed them to do, or they're reviewing plans and everything.
And I've seen some of the initiatives and things that have come out of the advisory board and some of the activities. And I have actually, I've helped with some of it, as Regis knows, with some of the plantings. And I just like sometimes just digging my hands in the soil and doing things too. So
Yeah, they have a good, I think they have a good mix of people.
they do. Seems like it.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
anyone quite has yours, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully it complements. a bit.
Yeah. So it's good, and some of them have been on for quite a while,
Yeah.
right? Like Denise Rose
She's
and
been on that for a
long,
while.
like I sat on the EAC with her going back, like, how many years? I don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I started with EAC.
wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so how about time commitment? I think they have one meeting a month, right?
I think that should be a problem at all.
And I think they're one of them still offer.
First Monday, they do a hybrid meeting. You can go
Okay.
first if you want, but a couple of members always do remote.
Remote, yeah.
Yeah, they can put you up on the big screen.
I do occasionally travel, so I could kind of zoom in, something like that.
Yeah. The EAC is one of the ones which is fully voluntary. There isn't any stipend or anything else. Yeah. Okay.
After reading the numbers of pages, all I could say is congratulations on your success. You had a wonderful career.
Thank you. I
Many
appreciate that.
successes, and it's been good for so many people too. You've helped so many.
Thank you. It's been a very hard, as Uday knows from his experience, talking with his wife. Academic science is a very difficult journey. But I would have to say that the last year sort of vindicates all of that, because it's just been very gratifying to see how the serendipity of science can lead you from a discovery that you had no clue or one potential mechanism for. And it turns out now it's found in every cell going back to bacteria. And it seems to be vital for life, but when it's induced, like anything else, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And it gets it starts to do nefarious, deleterious things. And that's, heart disease, pulmonary hypertension, you name it, a lot of different diseases. But the thing that's intrigued me the most and the potential for opportunity is the brain, because, so much of the country is focused now on brain diseases, and, it's a bipartisan thing in interest. So it's also great to know that, people, it could have an impact, and it's supported. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for wanting to give back.
Thank you.
Borough.
Thank you very much. The question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Patrick, and I've known why, not only you have been a great scientist, and you also care for the, community, care for the environment, and you have done a lot of wonderful job and for planting, park Borough, and we really appreciate it, and your work, your time.
I appreciate that. I hope I have been helpful, tried my best.
When I read through your experience, it's incredible that I never bumped into you. I oversaw the construction of the Home Cancer Center for 5 years, the design, and
Okay,
I was the project
Yeah.
administrator for that. And I also
that's great.
spent 3 years building the Rangos Research Building in Children's. And
Okay.
they moved the old Rangos from
Right.
Oakland over to there, and move all the clinical labs over to Rangos, and I was in charge of tearing down Children's. So I was in Oakland doing a ton of lab work for about 10 years. I
Really,
never bumped into you.
we hadn't crossed paths.
Yeah.
We were considering as a BMI moving into the old Rangos for a time, or down by the river, but I think we made the right choice to be central.
That old Rangos is a terrible building.
It is. I think that,
If we had to squeeze, the floor to floor didn't work for the ventilation for labs. And it was terrible. You made the right choice on it.
Oh, Pitt's been a great place for me, it's just such a wonderful place, 2,000 plus researchers, so there's almost no limit to what you can do there. And I also became assistant dean for graduate studies, you might have noticed. And that is good for me. It's only 25% effort, so don't get scared about that. But it balances me. It fulfills my desire to be a mentor. Yeah, I really enjoy the mentorship aspects of science and what I'm doing. So there is some travel related to that, going across the country, and even now setting up joint programs with Ireland, France, and Italy. One that's really in the late stages with the Royal College of Surgeons in Dublin, which is very exciting. So fit is international,
Yeah.
right? But to be a part of that and to be, I think the most exciting thing for me is to recruit talent, just to identify talent at all sorts of universities, including HBCUs. So that's just one of the most exciting parts of my career.
Thanks, Patrick, really appreciate it.
Any questions? Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Happy New Year.
See you, Pat.
I've never bumped into him. Major projects I work. These things got, there's 2,000 researchers floating around. I bet you haven't met all 2,000 researchers.
Yeah, but I was dealing with a pretty. Some of those, like, $100 million conceptual plans. Dealing with-
Here, hey, welcome. Hey, I'm Ute Howard. Nice to meet you.
We had to find.
Yeah, with your ability to do.
Okay. Peter Adler? Yes. Okay, yeah, welcome. So you were here, for the open board seats on the planning commission. Not sure if you know the running council, but.
I do not.
Also, Kathy Clement, secretary.
Brian Mountain Council.
Laura Chuckeye, council.
Dennis O'Keefe, Mayor.
Neil Dye.
Johnny, council.
I am from Sportsman Council.
This one's keeping council.
Richard Manager.
Nice to meet you.
And Andy Knopf.
good.
So why don't you tell us about yourself?
Sure. So, it's pretty loud there. So I'm Dr. Peter Adler. I'm an emergency physician. I moved to this area about 10 and a half years ago. I did my residency at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. Worked at Shadyside for a few years, moved to North Carolina for a bit, and then we returned to the area in 2014. My wife and I live in the Settlers Walk development. Two children, age 15 and 11, both attend North Allegheny schools. And we've been very happy with the community and excited to experience the area and give back as well. Obviously it's been a very busy time in medicine over the last few years. Looking to try to branch out and do some things differently, some things in addition to my medical background. I do have a background a little bit in geography. I worked for a year for the North Carolina Department of Transportation with doing some map making, and I got involved a little bit of kind of the planning aspect of that job. And as my kids are getting older, I'm looking to maybe branch out and do something a little bit different. And that's what the planning committee interests me to try to explore that a little bit more.
So you said you veterans going over, you did a residency and the DOC students.
So that was, yeah, so the order of things were, I actually grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina. I went to UNC Chapel Hill for undergrad and med school. Between undergrad and med school, I took a year off, and that's where I got involved with the Department of Transportation. So I was a geography minor in college, and sort of my old kind of second interest as things were progressing. But medicine quickly took over most of my academic life pretty quickly.
UNC does have a charter major. I go to Dale.
Okay. Oh, so you know pretty well. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Do you, council, have any questions or anybody?
I assume you understand what the planning commission does, at least superficially. I mean, have you been to any of the meetings?
I have not, no.
Yeah, so I was actually, I just resigned from the planning commission, did for 3 years. Councilman Lee is actually going to be taking the council spot on planning commission, so there's 9 members. We receive a lot of applications, like subdivision, building applications, housing, or whatnot. For example, if somebody were building a Feldman Walk, or even like a smaller scale version, they go through a development process. There's zoning involved, which is separate from quasi from the whole board kind of thing. So it is a little bit different than planning commission. Planning commission is advisory. So a lot of things that we looked at were, does the plan meet the requirements, issues, aesthetics, or whatnot, foundations, like landscaping and slopes, those big things. So those kind of main things. there were periods of time where we did not meet because there were no applications for no reasons. Planning commission also worked on the comprehensive plan, for the members we were on there. There were 4 at-large members as well. So those are kind of the things. And also if there's any ordinance updates or items that the borough or council is thinking of proposing, they are, vetted, and then of course the planning commission is advised, as a recommendation or non-recommendation. So it's a recommending body, so, even if a plan does come through or application comes through the planning commission and the planning commission sends it to council, it does not mean that it's going to be approved. But the goal of the planning commission is to ensure that it's something that is sent to council and it's clean in terms of no violations, people ordinances, zoning and whatnot. Meet once a month, the third Tuesday of every month, pre-meeting 7:30 and meetings at 8. Presuming that we have a quorum, which we need 5 members, and we actually have an agenda. Yeah, after 3 years, that's I gave from it.
The good news, Tuesday nights are nights I do have off, so I usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then occasional weekends.
So you've been solely with UPMC from what I see.
Pretty much, yeah. I did, for a brief period, do some moonlighting at West Penn, and then obviously when I was in North Carolina, I worked for a different organization, but, for the large part with UPMC since then.
Good for you. What is, UPMC Anywhere Share?
Good question, actually. I was involved when we developed that, it was about 10, 11 years ago. So what it is essentially a at-home urgent care. So if you, and it's branched out into some other areas as well, but essentially the idea is, say you're at home, you're starting having, like, you think of a sinus infection, or maybe urinary tract infection or an eye infection, something fairly simple. Instead of going to a urgent care physically, you can log into Anywhere Care, do a video visit with a nurse practitioner or physician's assistant. And then they can, if after that assessment, they feel you warrant treatment, they can actually call in an antibiotic or a script or something to a local pharmacy for you. So it's a way to avoid having to physically go to an urgent care or a emergency department.
Is that fairly extensively used by people?
It's a good question. I've not followed up with it the last few years. I think for a while there, especially during COVID, it was extensively used. Nowadays, my guess is it's a bit of a niche thing. I can't give you a number specifically, but I think it does. I think we do see a decent amount of people through it, just not a lot. It has branched out into some things like employee health. If for a while there, if we were thinking we have COVID, we would actually do an Anywhere Care visit, and they would they decide whether we need testing and treatment, and so they would be able to kind of start that process as well.
I'm sure it's very beneficial to certain types of individuals.
Absolutely. I think the people we target to are people with a lot of young children. It's very difficult to bring your young kid, obviously, in at 8, 9 o'clock at night, or especially if urgent care is closed. This is not another alternative to get that care without having to physically go in somewhere.
Well, thank you for explaining. Thank you.
No problem. Any questions I can answer?
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Okay, thank you very much. Very nice to meet you as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's really getting on.
You have to take the covers off of them. And over here on Probably the point, take a look at that. Yeah, it seems like I got a bunch of somebody. They have to take covers off.
Can you speaker there? Oh, yeah.
No, nothing's changed on this in here.
I know it's changed. Okay.
You guys, we can cover over all the whole.
It's just this.
It's just that one.
It's just that one's. Yeah, that was.
I'm gonna turn this one off.
Yeah. Slightly.
Yeah, just a little echo here. Welcome. Either college council.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So what do we?
Just introduce
yourself.
Ryan Malkin Council.
Laura Check Eye Council.
Dennis O'Keefe, Mayor.
John Lee Council.
Tom Schwartzmeyer, Councilman.
Region manager.
Yeah. There you go.
Are you?
Cool. So welcome to council, and you're interested in one of the positions open seats for planning commission.
That's correct.
Why don't you tell us about yourself, and what do you hope to get out of the planning commission?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I moved to Pittsburgh in 2018. Followed my wife here. She got a job with a company called Biosense Webster. She works at Allegheny General with electrophysiologists. And went to grad school at the University of Pittsburgh, got my master's degree in bioengineering, and have been working with this biotech company that spun out of the University of Pittsburgh for the past 5 years. It's called Cook Myocyte. We work over in the RIDC park over by Sharpsburg. So lived in the city for a couple of years, and then my wife and I bought a house out in Franklin Park a few years ago, and I've just really enjoyed our time here, the community, and I've been looking for ways over the past year to try to get more involved. And I joined some newsletters and some groups in our Brook Park community group, and they sent out this notice that Franklin Park was looking for different board positions to be filled, and so I went online. I was looking through the different commissions, and this one struck me as most interesting because it's all about long-term planning and a high-level strategy, and that's kind of what I do in a day-to-day for my own job. It's something that I really enjoy doing, and so I thought this would be a good opportunity to learn more about, the community that we moved into a few years ago, and see if I can help wherever I can.
Questions?
Yeah, have you seen a planning commission or meeting, or seen the results of a planning commission meeting yet?
I have not been to a planning commission meeting, but I've seen the most recent 10-year plan that's been put together.
Yeah, that was part of the work that there were 4 members that were involved in. And is that what captured your imagination about the planning commission?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can tell that planning, I was on the planning commission up until last month, for I've been in for 3 years, my first term. So I resigned, so Councilman Lee can be on the planning commission, so we can have council representation.
Okay.
So I definitely learned a lot over the 3 years, interesting experience. We meet once a month, third Tuesday, sorry. Resign, provided that we have 1 quorum. There's 9 members, so we need 5. Make quorum, and then the other departments, we actually have agenda items. Applications come through, or just whatever business.
Okay.
Most of the things that we saw were applications for like housing development, like sort of like a program manner, they would go through a zoning process, and then planning commission. Sort of these aspects of it, like environmental studies, engineering studies, the slopes, all sorts of things. That became a pretty big thing that popped up a lot.
Okay.
But landscaping, all sorts of requirements, but those would be, they'll come in a packet, now the overall application and planning commission's duties to basically review it. See what questions or if there's anything that's being violated in ordinance, your standards, like, for example, garage door standards. The windows, shutters, and stuff like just things like that. And a lot of that stuff's like spoken about. So a lot of what planning commission was to kind of review this.
How often does or what's kind of the frequency of those applications coming through?
They slowed down. It's kind of cyclical, but we were getting 1 month we would get 2 or 3, and for several months in a row we actually had nothing. So there was a period of time where we didn't meet. The comprehensive plan, which you saw, the 10-year plan, that is something the planning commission is involved in for the members on that. For board members, or council members, they're formed it jointly with Ohio Township. There's some synergies. So that was one large activity. But for the most part, it's an advisory commission board that basically, the idea is to have a clean plan where the application comes through, should be clean. We did not submit anything or anything to council.
Okay.
That was kind of like the main things that.
Okay.
Over at DVs.
Yeah, definitely. That was very
Yeah, cool.
solar array plan, there's something different, right?
Yeah, so that was a little bit unique. That was
Yeah.
one, that was one thing that was not very standard.
Mhm.
And this was more of placement of it. That wasn't exactly just the solar item. A lot of solar installations are on rooftop. And I think, one issue is the roof was 50 years old and a lot of solar companies that I've talked to and, from what we've researched, it's a roof that's longevity. The roof has not been closed recently. It's not a very good candidate for solar panels because you'll require installing and uninstalling.
Yeah.
Replacement. So this is a particular instance, the array is going to be on the ground, some sort of a stakes or some permanent, semi-permanent structure, array, the back of the yard, somewhere on the property. So it involved, looking at the surveys and whatnot, but that was kind of like a new thing that for we not experienced that.
Yeah.
So occasionally you'll get interesting cases like that.
Okay.
But for the most part, it was mostly, I like to build these 3 townhomes. What am I violating or not violating?
Yeah, so how does that, how does this commission interact with the zoning board? Because it seems like there's kind of a lot of crossover between the two.
Well, I mean, the zoning board deals with, like you said, with the zoning ordinance in particular, and that typically involves things like, how far away from the front of the property line am I on sidewalk, those types of things, and then, and if I'm asking for some, what they call a variance, was basically like, I want to have some exception to this rule for this particular, the zoning board will deal with that.
Okay.
Planning is more involved with, as even what sounds like is the planning of the thing. They also hear things like some conditional use applications, which are maybe a home-based business or something like that. They may, if there's more than 1,000 gross feet, I think, of whatever they're building as a structure, then the planning commission has to look at that too before it comes to council. So there's a number of things that they do. The zoning was just looking at, does this thing comply with the zoning, or if it got a notice that it violated it, are we going to give them an appeal or something like that, the right to continue to do it? It's a little bit different.
Okay, that makes sense.
And zoning is a government,
Quasi judicial, so yeah.
Yeah, so it is separate from like, borough council, or so what they do is, if I'm not mistaken, it's council can that means. We're overriding you. That's not how that works.
Correct, that has to go through the courts.
Yeah.
There are some cases where an application will need to go to both, the zoning and planning commission. But in terms of the two bodies interacting, there's really not any need for that. Procedurally, they're separate.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they have to continue to be independent too, because they're quasi judicial nature, so.
Would you talk just a little bit about your cross-functional team collaboration and what's involved with that and what's your results from that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our company it's a startup in a lot of ways, and it's a fully fledged organization in a lot of others. So we are a biopharmaceutical company that's building this cell therapy platform. And the company now is just a little bit over 200 people. The vast majority of them are in operations, so manufacturing, quality. I am one of the few people on the commercial side of our business, and we are still pre-commercial, so all of our therapies are in clinical trials. And the job that I'm responsible for is essentially building up our commercial infrastructure. So if you think about any sort of pharmaceutical company before it's actually on the market, how do they build up a field sales team? How do they build up a team that can interact with commercial payers, Medicare and Medicaid, to make sure that their therapies are being reimbursed appropriately? How do they identify key physicians to work with across the country or whatever region they're in? How do they set up whatever kind of treatment center they might need for their therapy? It's a really complex one. All that requires a lot of long-term planning. So right now we're about 3 years away from being on the market with our first therapy. And the work I've been doing has been going on for about 7 or 8 years. And so pretty much my day-to-day is working very closely and consistently with our clinical development teams, our regulatory teams, our quality teams, our supply chain teams, to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success 5, 6, 7 years down the road.
Thank you for explaining that.
Any other questions?
It's a long process you're going through.
Yeah,
Good luck with that.
yeah, they spun out of Pittsburgh in 2001, and so it's been 24 years now of development.
I would like to say, I'm speaking for myself now, not council, but I would like to see the planning commission moving forward and move into a little bit more of a planning role instead of just application by application, one-off. And I think maybe having that experience, that forward looking and planning could be really useful in that as we look for the next 5, 10 years of what Franklin Park is going to look like physically and developmentally. I think that could be very useful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great to hear. Yeah, that was one thing I liked about looking through the 10-year plan. It's very apparent how long these projects take to do the right way, and how you really have to think through every sort of variable and every kind of stakeholder that's involved to.
How do you deal with that much time? You're dealing with a team, but the team has to change, right? Not the same people can stay
Right.
there for the whole, so how difficult is that to deal with?
At times, very difficult. Just last year, we had a couple key people leave kind of back to back, and it was really challenging. The most key thing is really good documentation. So that when a person leaves our team and moves on to another opportunity, they're not taking institutional knowledge with them that gets lost. So everyone on our team tries to do a really consistent and solid job of making sure that the decisions that we make are documented, and the reasons why they were made are documented as well, so that we can come back, 5 or so years later, understand, how we got to this point, whether it was good or bad, and what information we had at that time to lead us to that decision.
There's several projects going on at the same time.
There are.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions for us?
No, nothing right now. I appreciate everyone's time.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be in touch. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
So welcome back, everyone. This is Echo. I'm just gonna turn this off. So happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to council. To our working session. Start with old business, overall charter. We have it on here. Nothing. So, I've not heard that. I didn't expect to hear anything.
I actually just in the last day and a half, I sent a note to the woman Melissa. She's a council chairperson at Jefferson Hills. I have not heard a response, and I copied the Mike Lister, who's the borough manager. So hopefully between my question to them, explaining why I'm contacting them, and gave my cell number, so trying to get through to them was, they hadn't returned that call in December. Well, she had, and the borough manager ended it back to me, so I thought I went to 2 of them, but just with the same email.
Yeah, I figured nobody would respond over the holidays. I'll get back to it. But we'll confirm. I mean, they should be starting their year under this new charter, so hopefully they can at least tell me like dates. We'll see how it goes.
Well, Jefferson Hills just barely didn't pass. It was like 49 to 51 or something, 49 and a half.
It was very close.
It was very, very close, and I looked at the population up here, and they're less than we have, like 12,500 or something versus our 15,000, I think, or something. So they're slightly smaller than Franklin Park. They actually have a slightly higher budget as well. Their annual budget's a little bit higher than ours. So I'm hopeful that we can get some indication as to what their thought process was going through. Hopefully I read through some of their minutes that were on their website as well, because, and you mentioned that they were going to discuss it, but they really didn't, they didn't get into the great detail and at least the ones that I had read over the months that preceded putting it onto the ballot. So I'll continue to try to bird dog them, in the next week or so and see what if we come up with, enhance our list of the reasons why we want, council to consider this. And
Reference it, we have some reference points that we've already.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I forget like our next meeting's in a week, so
Yeah.
we may not get.
I'm gonna push on it.
We can see.
See what I can do.
Okay, yeah, I'll do the same thing with Wilkinsburg. If there's any other communities, anybody knows of, we should reach out to, let us know. Okay. So on the new business, review the January 15th, 2025 regular meeting agenda.
A quick turnaround, just for everybody to remember, we're here next Wednesday, that week in between or so. We don't have any public hearings scheduled or on the agenda. We do have a couple of carryovers / reorganization meeting type of resolutions on the back page. You can see with respect to the schedule of fees, the volunteer fire company, the fire police officers, et cetera. Back on the first page under old business, if we don't have old business, we skip through it. We do have the motion on Kansas Franklin Park Ambulance Authority. We can discuss that further or can consider it. If you want to table it again till the next month, you can do that. One thing we were talking about when we were putting it on under old business, if you want some form of a condition or a trigger before it goes back on the agenda, like a meeting with, the board, you did have it, okay. I say postpone it to the date subject to that, but.
We'll say motion 13, at this point, looks like it'll probably be removed again. The county is slow in getting signed contracts back to the COG. Because we have a range that's going to pay for the majority of that work.
One emotion about the fees and that for next year. I don't believe when I skimmed through here that we really highlighted what was changed. Does that mean that?
It's noted at the top, and there was only 2 pages that there were changes.
I must have missed it because I was looking at it on the laptop and said, yeah, that sounds like what I thought it was last year. And
It was towards the end, we added fees for the digital sign.
Which only generates about $500 a year.
Right.
So the advertising fees for the digital sign is what I saw. I mean, had a weekly, a monthly, and an
We
annual.
really only have one.
And there was one more.
Police, right?
Was it the police, trying to special duty rate? Yes.
Yeah.
that. And there was something else, the NSF checks, we raised that
that's
up.
correct. It's highlighted on that one for the employees.
Those are the ones I remember.
Yeah, you're right.
That's it.
Yeah, I was skimming, there was a lot of pages there. I'm looking, there's nothing was highlighted. I missed, I did see that, I did read the one on the digital sign because I'm thinking, that's actually not really a bad rate to put something up there for a year.
No, it is not.
I thought it was kind of cheap, but.
Maybe we'll make it up on volume. The overhead doesn't change, right?
It's costs.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions on the agenda? All right. Okay, moving on to reports from staff, Borough, engineers, listening.
I'm gonna miss the memo on wearing all blue today, so take the sweater off and be okay. Now you have my written report. We do have 2 topics to discuss in executive session. Happy 2025.
Quick, Max, what caused the record-breaking number of enforcement proceedings in front of
I
the?
don't know if it was a backlog or he just decided to schedule them all at
All at the
once,
same
but
time.
it was 5 and a couple were multiples.
Yeah, there was
Half didn't show and
sometimes when you get something that doesn't go away, you just have to write a bunch of tickets. And that's all the tickets.
Understood. Did you find the day of doing it more efficient than having it spread out over?
oh,
a
I
month at a
certainly
time?
did because I didn't go. So, Jewish.
Actually, things went pretty quick.
Yeah, she came back and reported that Made a couple no-shows, straight fine, couple continuances for people who did show to come into compliance. That's always been our mantra, come into compliance, we won't keep on into oblivion, but we will do so.
Okay. No,
Potential information is on this, officer, I'll swear in Mark Filippi. He's coming to us from Ohio Township. And we always, with new officers, I come in early and I go to the to the station, I swear them in. I did that on Monday.
Yes.
Monday. So he's actually sworn in. At next week's meeting, it's sort of like public to do it, but he is actually sworn in, working, we're good.
All right, back to you.
Yeah.
Scott.
Well, I submitted a report and I was just gonna mention that the pension audit, we're having our exit conference on Friday. And she, did indicate that, you know, council was invited to come
I
to.
I sent the invite.
Okay, and so.
She has a conference lasts about 10 minutes and then I signed some things and we're done.
Other than that, I mean, just working on year end and to get everything in there for 12/31. Our financial report next week, but other than that. We're looking at the house.
And that ends it. That ends it. Interview. Is that the interview? Is it online?
No. It was confusing the way they wrote it.
I think it's on phone.
Time,
She's
I think.
gonna call.
Oh, she's gonna call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you use
Even quicker.
DPS?
No, there's no reason.
Okay, all right.
What I saw it was like, she was calling apparently from Harrisburg, the way I read it.
Teleconference. Okay. All right. All right, sounds good, thanks.
Yeah, along with my report, I'd like to add something to the, possible, add the motions for next week. We had talked about a 5-year plan on redoing our, the big trucks we have. I signed for one today for 2025. I'd like to put in an order for 2026 because it's gonna take us a year to get this truck, or better than a year to get this truck. Thing is, you know, you gotta get build slots for these trucks. And, you know, I was planning on 25, 26, 27 to replace a couple of big trucks that we have, because of the ages they're getting. Kathy, I get Kathy information on this stuff there to do, you know, if possible, to try to get this on a motion where I can go ahead and order this truck.
Will that lock it in price this time around, Gary, or?
Pardon me?
Is that gonna lock?
Yeah,
it in price?
it'll lock it in, because it should lock it in. The only thing that might change it is if we don't get into a build slot, it possibly could change, probably like $3,000 to $4,000 on the cab chassis itself. And that'll move it actually to a 27 if we don't get it in. Right now, it looks good. Everything looks good to get it in for 26. So the one we signed for today is 25. This new one it'll be a 26. So, you know, what happens is the build slots, you're gonna get the build slots for the truck. So everything should be locked in on it. The price on it's gonna be $210,000, $210,190. That's a complete truck with the upfit, plow, spreader, body, everything completely done. That's, price on that's, probably right around $4,000 higher than the truck we're buying this year. So, like I said, the only thing might change is if we don't hit this build slot, which right now everything looks good that we're gonna hit it. So if I can get this, as long as I can get it ordered in the next, couple of weeks.
What brands you're looking at, what brand?
It's international. That's the ones we were in, because the Peterbilt's on, we were trying to do the Peterbilt's before, but price of them went so high, they were like $25,000 higher. And when we started, we'd like to change, but this has given us extended warranties. It's given us towing. If we have problems with them, they're getting better and better at stuff on them now where the trucks are, things are working out a lot better with them. So.
Sounds okay with it? So we have a budget for it. Okay.
And that'll be on
Yeah,
the 26th.
26th, but-
Yeah, which,
And I think the projection was like 210 for it, so.
Yeah.
Right at,
so it's right in that area. And the only other thing I have is the salt. And we're getting killed on these small, plow jobs. I mean, our guys been out probably, I think, 8 or 10 times already. And every little time we go out there, it's it took a chunk out of our salt, so we're gonna be, I got 700 ton on order right now. I'm gonna be ordering more too, and that's already, we used quite a bit already too, so.
Use everything under the tarp.
We used everything under the mark, probably three-quarters of what was inside the dump. So it's, there, it's anything you can do, you gotta get out, I mean, we gotta keep putting it down, we tell them, hey, you gotta cut back, and sometimes you can't do it, you get on these hills and stuff like that, you gotta put it down, then just, till you get the sunlight up and start melting it. Hopefully it stops or starts slowing down again, but, this might be one of them years where we're gonna put a little bit more into the salt, so we've been fortunate the last couple of years, so. But, yeah, other than that, it's, so that's all I have other than that. So, report.
Right, that'd be. Doesn't matter, right?
Oh, they're for signs, yeah, but we'll be taking them on the street. Just whenever you can give them the cap.
Yep, that,
So zoning hearing board will be meeting tomorrow evening. There'll be two residential, setback encroachments that'll be before them, one for Taylor Lane and one for Locust Road. And then we have an appeal from my decision for a fence in the right of way and sanitary sewer easement on property in Trumbull. So she didn't like my decision that she wasn't allowed to put it there, so. And then the planning commission, next week will be reorganizing. They'll also be reviewing their annual report, for approval, their approval, and pass on to you guys. And then, Cardinal Ridge, coming in for a revised, subdivision application because they got some things they want to change. A few things going on this week.
Yeah, I know the one where they built the gate right over top of the axis.
Yes. Yeah, they built it on, they,
So essentially the manhole that.
she told me she was gonna put it behind the property line, and that would have been fine. She put it over the property line and on by the middle of the sanitary. There was a tree in her way, and it puts her sidewalk, in the middle of the fence, and she has some problems there, but. She moved it back and she could just move the section of the sidewalk. I mean, there's would be a couple of feet she would have to redo. That would be about it, but.
We don't have access to the information that was gained from the PA1 call where she's talking about where they drew the lines or whatever for the, because I thought I read that she said.
Well, she gave us a very descriptive, survey.
Okay.
Showing the location of everything.
All right.
And so, where she showed the fence was gonna go, I issued a permit for it. We went out to do the inspection. It's not where it was.
Okay.
fence with it, so like, wood fence or metal fence, what?
I think it's a wood picket fence.
Yeah, there's photos.
Oh,
Yeah, and, I mean, I don't know, I don't think she's gonna fare very well with the zoning hearing board because it's not on her property. It's literally in the road right of way and on top of the sanitary authorities easement for, right on top of the pipe, so according to where
Maybe I'm missing some, how could they grant a variance?
They can't.
Yeah.
that's why she chose not to do a variance. She's gonna appeal my decision. I mean, I tried to, explain to her what the options were.
Yeah.
She said that she was on the zoning hearing board in some town in New York and she never had to deal with it, so.
sounds good. Yeah.
Gary, what's the situation down on Little Swift Creek? It's shut down for a while.
Yeah, there's a couple slides down there. I don't know if anybody's
New
seen
spot,
that.
and it's new spots, right? Not where they.
Yeah, there's one on the bend, actually, there's some areas, new areas, but they've had problems down the road from there and nothing's ever been done.
Yeah, it was down the, it's been down the one lane for a while.
Yeah, that's that whole road. And then if it lets loose, if that thing lets loose where it's at on that bend,
Yeah.
and that short bend is just going out of the borough there, that's a steep hill there. Hey, they're gonna have some severe trouble. trying to get that built back up. But actually, I gotta talk to them, because we've had, our guys, I'm getting complaints from the one resident up on top of the hill there. People are coming down, they got the signs right at the barn there, and they're turning their driveway. We're gonna see if there's a possibility they can move it down to where the bend, as the slag is just beyond the bend, as you go around, it's just beyond the bend. There's a pull-off spot on the left-hand side. We'll maybe see if we can get, because even our truck, our big truck has a hard time, he's gonna have to back all the way down the road to salt and flour, because they don't want us really backing in their driveway at the barn there, it's an asphalt driveway, so. Even if she does, let us, we still take a chance for us to, possibly come in and pave it or something like that, so. Might not be wise for us to even do it, I told the guys, don't do it, but like I said, we gotta back down, it's probably 3/4 of a mile. Probably half to 3/4 of a mile down through there.
Thanks. This is a county road,
That's state.
it's state road, yeah. Okay, we're done. You're good? That's okay. Done.
Yeah, my report, we're doing fields right now for athletic associations. So soccer, baseball, and lacrosse will all be here in the spring. And then summer camp registrations started Monday. I've been very busy with that. By the way, summer camp registration.
Put them in your house, they don't do it.
I will find you.
Record year for,
Last year, yeah, we did very well last year. We're tracking ahead early on. I can't say whether we'll surpass last year, because at this point, it will just depend whether they fully fill how many kids we get. But we already have 3 of the eco camps are completely full. One of the ages of flag football, we already had to expand. And then even sports, a few of the weeks are probably only like 20 kids away from filling already. So they got on it early, which, from a revenue borough standpoint is good for us, because it puts money into the bank that we can use for other projects early on. So, yes, but obviously dealing with that registration and billing that way has been fun this week. That's all I have.
Yeah, my reports, the golf course has officially been closed. I know that Saturday after Christmas, we had a few phone calls on that 50-degree day, but, I was out of town, Jim's out of town, one day's not worth being open. And, so the course went well there. Next month, I'll have the, documents for the scholarship outing in Cranberry. They did write them, his came back their session as well. It went up to the $5 that he thought it was per person, so it's not it's still well within our budget. The also will be at Cranberry Highlands for the outing. Then within parks, Acorn right now is kind of a standstill. The playground's built as much as they could for now. They were frozen early on and been swamped out by the end with the rain before Christmas and the warm weather. So I do definitely got some drainage issues to look at within the playground area coming out of spring here. But other than that, we'll start working on the trails there. And then, same thing with Gary with the snow, our sidewalk salt. I think last year we used 1 pallet for the year. We've already been through 2, and 2 more coming Friday. Just happening to salt in the morning, and then again in the afternoon when the second round of ½ inch of snow comes. So we're trying to stay on top of that. And then just a reminder, the track around the football field and Old Orchard, we do use that broom for walkers. But if we don't do it first thing in the morning, it's after everything else is done, after the storm's over, we do the best we can to get to them. We're not always there on the weekend for that, so if you get some calls from residents, we do it as best we can after each storm, not during the manpower. If it doesn't make sense to clean up when the storm's over. About all I have.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, not much this evening. And Jim mentioned from the contractor's perspective too, it's been enterprise, quiet at Acorn, weather and holidays, that kind of thing, waiting for materials. We probably do need to extend the bridge DEDF grant can.
Won't be arriving in January.
And with the weather, I think that we should prepare now to extend just in case. And even if they're done, but I think we should do that to be safe.
Okay. Well, I'm going to continue on Acorn. We did, make payment to Westview Water Authority, the tap-in fee and the estimated, construction costs. And I believe they have 30 days to do the work.
Yes.
And that was, a couple of weeks ago that we made that payment, so I haven't seen them out there yet, but clock is ticking. Next week on the agenda, we'll be adding the, council authorizing us to go ahead and order the bulk restroom for Acorn Park. We got DCNR approval on that, today.
But again, that's really all for this evening. You can contact the independent for when they come back and materials come.
They haven't provided us yet with the payroll.
Certified payroll, okay.
Yes, so we,
Well, don't give them a check, obviously.
yeah, they're $400 and some thousand.
You would think you would want that money, but
It's been, what, almost a month since you sent that to us. All we're waiting for is them to provide the authorization.
I'll remind them. Chelsea.
No, she said, GDTF, they said to reach out as soon as possible, so I'll contact them tomorrow. That's not a problem.
Got anything else?
Okay, so
Thanks. Chief?
You have my report, busy month of January. Right now our station is being deep cleaned, because Monday and Tuesday we have our accreditation, review. So the panel will be out Monday and Tuesday, to make sure that we're in compliance, and hopefully we'll get our, blessing for the accreditation. We have, tonight we gave our sergeant exam. That's where we just came from, Lieutenant and I. And at the end of the month, we have our civil service meeting for the reorganization. Hopefully, by that time, certify the eligibility list for the sergeant test. So yeah, it's been a busy month already.
Same makeup on this, on the, civil service board, same makeup, nobody new. right?
Yeah.
Have an alternate spot open or something like that.
We do have an alternate spot still open. I had heard that there was some interest, but as far as I know, no one's applied. Thank you.
That's good. Okay, all right, so on to, the next item, discuss final year option for waste management and, refuse recycling. Correct.
Yeah, we are getting, an incredible deal right now. I will tell you that, municipalities around us are paying close to twice as much as our residents are paying for trash service, and they don't get unlimited like Parking Park does. And Waste Management is willing to go ahead and, extend it for the option year next year. So there's no reason not to go ahead and do it. So I'd like to add to the agenda next week that we go ahead and authorize it, get the Waste Management, they will sign off on it. And, you'll have one more year of low cost and unlimited service, but after that, it's gonna be, everybody gets a card. And all you get is that card. each week. And your residents will pay a lot more money.
I have a contract that's been working on my house. He lives in Ross, right behind Northway Mall. He had waste management there and they pay quarterly. They believe, my memory, right, about a month ago, he said they pay $37 a quarter. And they just get the one payment.
Right. So we've got 25 and 26 that still enjoy low rates and unlimited pickup. We're one of the few communities around that have.
Who built this, the original contract? Like this option here? Yeah. That's what we have. Any thoughts?
As soon as possible. And actually, Waste Management reached out to us and met with Donna and I a couple weeks ago and said, we're on board. We want you to go ahead and authorize this as soon as possible.
If they're on board with that, why not be on board with some extra, like another contract like the one they gave us? I know,
Nobody is doing that.
well, that may be, but I mean.
They will not do that.
What's our
Simple as that.
due date for the extending option?
Yeah, it's a little while.
So we're guaranteed the option. Whether it be. authorized next week or-
We authorize it, and they have to agree to it.
Oh, okay.
They've said they will agree to it, so I think we authorize as soon as
I'm
possible.
curious.
we can sign off.
So
I could be wrong, it might
I
be.
think
on
it
less
is,
than that,
yeah.
but
there's nothing more to negotiate.
The original one was always.
It's a sweet deal that we need to. I think understand.
Once that's done, then you go back to them and say, I want to talk about our next contract.
Then it's out for bid. Low bidder gets,
Okay.
and this, when we got this contract bid, Waste Management was far lower than anybody else. And there actually is on the, there are two potential other companies, there's Republic and there's County Holiday.
county, yeah.
But, what I've heard is even Republic hasn't been bidding lately on contracts, so. And Waste is getting there, and it's gonna be much higher than this contract.
Okay.
Are we good with adding this to the agenda? Yeah, that's fine.
I will say before we go on that. Anybody,
Oh, yeah, that's right, sorry.
you're all free to leave.
Yes.
Or you can
Early
stay.
night tonight.
Yeah. I think they're.
No one around member.
I'll be here out there and sometimes that bear gets.
Waste management. If somebody wanted to go and. Something at a landfill. I think, is there a landfill around?
I don't think so. I think, frankly, you have to be licensed to haul something over the also.
All right, I'm just curious. I think I asked my first week, but it was East area.
Yeah.
So, they have county landfills, your license, you have to be registered to show your license, whatever. But I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's-
I believe in Pennsylvania, you would have to actually be licensed to haul. I was in McCamus, I know we had residents who complained that they haul their trash to the dumpsters somewhere. And we told them that by law, you really can't do that.
Like, that's the law. I think these stores.
Bag of trash in your car, taken somewhere is all the trash.
I was curious, yes. All right.
There's a big, both my kids live north. And my son, the neighbor had a huge trailer and he took the whole load to a mobile facility, which is right, it's within a half a mile of San Valley High School. Right here,
Okay.
79. It's big landfill. Where they gave us a hard time. They wanted to see the sticker on the trailer. They opened the door.
Yeah, they get inspected too.
Oh, yeah, they wanted to see the sticker on the vehicle. They shouldn't, I mean, the woman gave us a hard time. In fact, she took us away one time. And my neighbor gave us the trailer, she was full of, you know what? And he took it down there and he had the book in his hand. He said, "You're absolutely wrong. Get the boss on the phone." This is the woman when you pull in. And the boss came down and said, "What the hell are you telling him that? He's legal to bring that in here." So I said, I never fought so hard to spend $150 to dump trash.
Oh, okay, so this is not like a resident, you're a resident. Areas.
No, you just, they weigh it, you pull into the scale and they'll take it.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Didn't know if people
This
did.
was like 2 years ago, but I mean, you can definitely do that. But they do have to check your vehicle out to be sure everything is legitimate if you don't have to, you're not like a licensed hauler. So,
No, I'm just thinking of like situations like, I figure like the last crash, last Monday's crash, or this past Monday's crash, or last up crash. Pretty similar. People have like older tools. I think more like, yeah. That's, that seems really bad. I know. Okay, all right, that's probably solved now, but, okay, yeah, we're good with the contract, we'll add that. Okay, so, we're the next one, budget schedule for the other year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, that was a good idea.
Are you all good with that?
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
There's some other municipalities that are doing that, do adopt a budget in November.
You know,
If there is a situation, I can't think of it on the top spot, top of my head right now, but it does buy us time to like figure it out.
Yeah.
And those dates, they're good.
Yeah, we'll change my calendar.
Okay, yeah, if we're good with that.
Yeah.
Let's just go, let's
Staff do something.
Thanks.
okay. I think there.
You still do the proposed budget and have it out for 10 days.
Correct.
Yeah,
Advertisement, yeah.
Right,
And it is a municipal election year, so you will have next year the option to open it
Yeah.
in February every other year.
Do we meet the 10-day?
Yes,
Because
because the idea is that the proposed- final proposed budget will be the first meeting in November, the work session.
yeah,
And
then
then
it's
it'll be
Friday.
posted immediately after
Yeah.
that. It gets voted on the third Wednesday in November,
So you have 14 days.
14 days.
Yeah, if we post that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just like we did on this past one. Okay.
It's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You have to send that in advance.
Okay. Yeah, and it'll, yeah, actually, especially looking at what's 30. We could. Well, we're not doing, never mind, we have budget, right? Yeah. So it makes it much easier. Okay, that was it for that. Standard session, right?
Okay, just wanted to let you know that, Cityscape and Federal Engineering have completed, their tasks for the, second part of the consultant contract. They basically, done an inventory of what we currently have and an analysis of what we have. And they are prepared, to present that to council next Wednesday. So, I will be emailing out to council those reports in advance. And then they will be appearing via Zoom routine, I guess Zoom, and, presenting it to council and answering any questions next Wednesday. So,
This is still on the assessment of what we currently.
correct. And then council decides if you want to move on to phase 3 of the contract.
But there's a total of 4 pages. Okay, all right. Rich, you have anything else?
No.
Okay, let's see, reports from council mayor,
Not much, today, Laura and I met to meet with the ambulance authority tonight, you'll see at your place, they left some information, they really answered all of our questions. He gave us a 5-year plan, which is pretty much what we were asking for. It's all based on percentage of households, which I think is a relatively fair way to do it. We're comparable with time. I thought it was really good. More that.
It sounds like time is minimal to this plan.
Yeah.
Um,
There's something else that they're going to vote on this month.
yeah, they're ready to move forward based on the, formula on the table.
They actually increased, if you saw the original proposal on the contract, they actually increased their contribution a bit. So they didn't have as big of a jump. And they're under the, I think she said they ended up contributing $3,000 over the 5 years. Sounds like they're still having issues with the other two municipalities. In fact, she said they would probably need to terminate the contracts, give them a notice of contract termination for January meeting. So they have to give them a year. And hopefully that will prompt them to renegotiate.
yeah, they're gonna vote on it on the 20th. And 10 days, whatever it is, just because that's their board meeting. Since they're in February 1st to like following January 31st. They love to do that soon. Doesn't mean that we can't negotiate soon, still trying to negotiate.
They also did fill those other 2 board seats, one with the resident from Pine. They report to McCandless though, they don't report back to Pine, it's a McCandless seat, McCandless appointed them. And then the second one, she said was, so all their seats are not too.
Good, Tom.
No, I was just gonna say, I had nothing to really report, but I guess Gary and who left the Public Works Department, I think should be mentioned, they've been doing a great job at the streets. No, we've been running around picking up creative kids, and some of you know, my son-in-law drives one of those plows, and called in there all nights, all hours of the night here in the last week, and, the wife and I watched the kids. My wife was in Florida, or my daughter was in Florida last weekend for a 3-day, meeting, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So between that and the snow coming, it's been pretty interesting, but I did want to thank Gary. I mean, the whole thing has gone very well. And I didn't get any complaints about the roads and the condition. So kudos to them for a good job.
I think and our the residents came to me or text me wanted me to thank the Borough Council and for help with that the spring water has been looking at it. Also like the one me to thank Gary and Popular Water and for a wonderful job. I think that problem has at least looks like it has been, issue has been addressed. There is no water coming to the street. So, I told them that this problem has been dealt for some time, but the forest has been working and trying to find the best solution for this problem. And eventually, we'll be able to fix the problem. They are happy with this solution.
Yeah, just one. We continue to have some issues with the public address system up at the activity center. The Christmas gathering, holiday gathering, didn't go so well as far as people hearing what we were saying or what I was saying or whoever was talking. So I think we have some agreement here within the room and it was a problem. So we need to figure out, also we don't have no podium. I know podiums are, but if you're giving a speech, a podium helps. But there's nothing there. It's hard to hold paper, trying to give us, anyway. It's something we need to, I don't know, it's financially not a good time to be asking for these kind of things, but I think that's professionalism. And when we don't have a good system up there, not only with us, but with other, whoever else may be performing, that we're trying to do something with, this is not very professional. So, as a matter of fact, at the November Veterans event, if we didn't have a couple pieces there with two pieces coming in to entertain with a system. Our system wasn't even working. It's pretty frustrating when all of a sudden you're there and I made my point.
You always push off the chairs for every year.
It's pricing to council first.
We've talked about this before. It's just a continuing problem. So I just like to say that we do something with it.
Is my memory right that Zach had said he had prices on different options?
I'll have to talk to Zach.
I thought it was, again, that could be wrong. I thought it was in the $3,000 to $4,000 range.
No, I think it was 10 times that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was really,
I would think.
we kind of talked ourselves out of it last time.
It's gonna be
it came up.
5
Is
figures.
that expensive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to say 30 to 40,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'll check on it again and bring something to council.
That was difficult at the Christmas or the holiday.
Aside from that, I don't want to take anything away from all the work that's put into that. On a whole staff, everybody cooperated extremely well. That was the only issue. Everybody worked hard and it actually came off very well. And but it is a little bit frustrating when you don't have a good system.
this, if we look at that, I wonder also, should there be like a public address like fee for folks that are renting the facilities to try to kind of, cover something? Because, yeah, we'll use it once or twice a year, Mayor, but the rest of the time it's gonna be for the.
It could definitely be, or it could be an additional fee
Yeah.
if people want to use that.
Yeah.
Item.
If we're gonna invest that much money, we probably need something over it.
Do you think it's
Probably be an additional fee because not everybody would use AV.
Right.
Well, thank you.
Just piggybacking off, what was said earlier about not parks, but public works. I had two separate residents reach out to me over the holidays just to say, when there's bad weather, they purposely go through Franklin Park as opposed to a different way to work, knowing that our roads are gonna be more clear, so I should have said that when Gary was here, but
You can just see it just driving the difference,
yeah.
crossing the road,
That's
crossing the border.
Maybe we collect the fee from them.
That's good.
I gotta get it.
Transit fee.
How about this New York City congestion fee? How do they deal with that?
Did you read that article about the firemen that work in the city have to have their personal vehicles and they're being charged like $30
Yes.
a day
Yes,
to move from one section of the city to another as part of their work.
it's unbelievable.
Wow.
I freak out at that.
or, good?
That's it, yep, thank you.
I'm good to that.
Okay. Cool, so, the only thing I want to mention is, she had sent an email that's for, yes, so, remember you all saw that email.
Jason Hines, again, Jason Hines, who was on Insurance Defense Council. Member of the Ohio Township Planning Commission,
Yeah, he
worked
started
on
on
the
the
comp
joint
plan,
comp plan.
passed away New Year's Eve. That's Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, sorry.
Is there, on that or anything? Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. There you go.
Planning commission needs to see it.
Yeah, so, since there's nothing else, yeah, so instead of having like a gap in time for planning commission EAC, want to get the staff. So we can vote on next Wednesday, so. Could we do that now? Is there any other business? Good. Okay, so EAC, there's one slot available and one applicant.
I think Patrick fits the and I don't think anybody could say other than that. It's really unbelievable 38 pages.
Maybe if I put one letter on every page. No, it's like every conference you've ever attended back to 1992.
I would love to.
A lot of information.
He's also an expert grant writer, which is incredible, which has been noted, so, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. For sure. So, all right.
We
So
all play.
so that's what's a little harder. So planning commission, we have two candidates, Peter and Leah. Go around.
Both great candidates. Dr. Adler's, very knowledgeable and everything. And then you've got Liam, who's involved with what he calls a startup, but also an established business. Who's got this amazing ability to organize, digest stuff. So I don't know. I think either one would be great. Kind of leaning towards Liam right now, based on his kind of his business acumen, but that's his name.
Anyone else?
I agree with you.
I do too, except I don't know exactly the makeup of the current planning commission in terms of their experience and what they bring to the table versus would either one of them be duplicating what we already have.
So we have a councilman, researcher, Dr. Lee. We have somebody who works in the robotics industry,
Couple lawyers, right?
I think we have one or two
More than
lawyers,
enough.
Architect watching.
we have some engineers.
Yeah, we have.
architect.
I don't know that we have either of them. Certainly, I don't think we have. We don't either one of their
So that's kind of like a thing.
That's helpful.
I thought the doctor, I mean, they're both good, I'm not one over the other, it's like a good choice to have, but I thought he had a little bit of experience in planning and, what was he doing?
GIS map.
GIS mapping and different things like that that are quasi-related to the planning service. But I don't think he'd be wrong with either one of them. He'll probably lean slightly that way, only because of his experience.
What kind of doing?
It's really about 50-50. But I don't.
I'm gonna talk to Mike,
Yeah.
but I'm still salty about that, but.
Yeah, let's flip the point.
You're pretty quarter well.
I forgot that one more.
Yeah, I didn't forget.
I do like Dr. Adler, as well, but however, Lori made a good point. The planning commission, instead of it being reactive, should be more proactive. I did like what I heard from Lynn, because it gave reference to the comprehensive plan, this forward thinking. So kind of like thinking those ideas through to somehow find a way to put that action in. To be done. That's stuff out of here.
Do we have any other spot cap?
You have.
Alternates for zoning.
Yeah, actually, it's
Subsets.
Yeah.
That the building board of appeals, but I don't think either of their backgrounds.
Maybe, Liam did kind of be interested in zoning, maybe he'd be willing to do alternates. What's more map GIS related to zoning or is it plan? As we try to fit this together.
You know what, it could be both.
Okay.
I mean, it's understanding. I mean, absolutely, you know, never understand what. Whether it's a zoning question or planning, you need to know what you're talking about, the boundaries.
You'll probably see similar documents.
Yeah.
Your documents will have like setbacks, slopes,
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
If zoning needs an alternate, does it need an alternate or does? Yeah.
Do you have to be an engineer or an attorney on zoning, or is that just the current makeup?
No,
Okay,
it just go into
gotcha,
that.
okay.
Right, those are the two people. Those are the two other people going to.
Building, yeah, well, they'll be fine, different. Somebody is an engineer, somebody's in the construction business, an architect.
Yeah, talking it out, maybe I do a little bit more towards Dr. out there, it's no kind of a background and set of experiences. Convince Lee to go. So you go to the alternate zoning, so you can kind of come up with a range.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. I'm not opposed.
Does town making people?
I think so.
Well, the question is, what do you want to do? I mean, right now, we're talking about the website, but that's really not hacked. So we pretty much run out of things with that to do. Unless you have specific things you want that to do. Like, I'm having trouble having a meeting every month, just to waste their time in chat. I mean, they're good people, but you need to give them something to do. That's good.
Can we have them look into the new speaker system for the IT center? Not really in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
There might be a solution. I don't know. Yeah, there.
But right now, the reason it's an opening because Wayne didn't formally resign from that. He only resigned from the planning commission in January. Yeah, we pulled forward because Wayne's on, even though Wayne has never attended a meeting. He's on.
That's right, yeah.
But
Let me talk about it.
again, yeah, I mean, we haven't had a meeting in a couple of months with that because, again, it's just pressing them what our residents want to see on the website, and that's really not accurate.
Okay, so back to the PC commission. Or we said,
I'm okay with Dr. Adler, but planning commission, I've heard kind of consensus there. And I think we should offer you the alternate zone. If everybody gets that. Seems like everybody took this as a.
Or,
I would advocate for the opposite of that. Ask Liam to join, planning and Dr. Adler to join zoning. I think he would bring a different perspective than what's already on zoning. But I don't feel so strongly about it that I would oppose doing either way.
Definitely. Oh, sorry. Yes. There, go ahead.
Laura and I are on the same page.
I'm with them. I believe that is good for the and the community, commission, so I think, the piece of might be probably good for them. What an alternative when it's only. I think that might be, I would say a good use of it. With this.
Okay. Tom. Anyway, yeah.
I still like Dr. Albert, but I will go wrong either way. I just think this background is slightly better for the planning commission, but again, they're both falling equally. But they're gonna both be again to figure out the job that is done in either one. Is there any, I guess, I don't know the planning commission members that well, but it is fully staffed other than the one vacancy. Is there anybody on there that's,
Not showing up.
well, no, anybody that's not participating in it, like they missed 9 out of the last 10 meetings, or I know you do an attendance thing for us, but I don't.
The only, yeah, I think Laura, got this confused, but she resigned.
Okay.
I think her husband fully retired.
Yeah, I know you don't like to throw somebody off or something, but if he's been a total non-participant, we got 2 potentially qualified candidates.
And we haven't met everyone. That was also,
That's true.
so, we met like 8 times, 9 times. That was it. Okay, so you're Adler. Okay, so, I like Liam's perspective. I actually was sold on Dr. Adler when he was finished speaking, but after hearing, Liam, a while bit, I do feel like he's, what I did observe, everything on my commission very much. It's a deepest checkbox, yes, no, it is, yes, no. It was not forward thinking, which is a little odd because initially we were looking to develop and send up afterwards. The folks did a pretty big remark about what sheets was an applicant, they wrote some very hard with sheets to like make that area look like the way it looks, like the whole Franklin Park sign, the invitation, everything. Apparently none of that stuff was like in the ordinances, so that was kind of like the point that should be more on the back. I don't know, the sign was assigned to ordinances.
I mean, the landscaping, like, they went up for like 20 variants, challenged it, and they went back to the drawing board. I think they had a couple minor ones when they came back a second time, but yeah, they did offer the sign, attributed to light phasing, lost money, partial or something like that. So that was definitely a tough part.
So that sounded like they were very cool. Sounded like they were very much more collectively hands-on versus what I was. I kind of felt like thought process would be a little, I don't know what, but I agree with Laura there. Okay, so we got our person. Liam, then Dr. Adler for zoning. He's interested. Do we need a person on zoning? Am I fully staffed there?
Yes.
We have, the board itself is staffed, we have 2 alternate positions.
Anybody know any other alternates for zoning? You have to be lawyers or engineers. They know.
Yeah.
That's not, I think that's the majority,
Okay.
so.
We're gonna, right, engineer as well. Yeah, we're good. So, should we go to executive session? No. Do you have any other?
If we could like a 5 minute break.
I did find it.
Yeah.
Leg, stretch your leg.